Hey, I'm the cat toy lady. So a couple weeks ago, I made a window cat box as kind of an experiment to see if it can hold up like I thought it would in my head, and I want to show you how I made it. And it's super simple. It takes one and two items from the Dollar Tree. This basket's about 16 by 12 inches, maybe a little less. And this is just the poly rope that's in the hardware section. It comes in lots of different colors. I got black just so it's not as bright and obnoxious, but you can pick any of the colors you want. And just in case you see this in the craft section, don't use this rope this time. That mesh tubing stuff. This just isn't strong enough to hold up long term, especially if you have a cat that likes to chew with their back teeth. So I'm thinking the easiest way to be able to show you what I did is to kind of explain it ahead of time and then show you the finished product on this one. And for this, we're going to pretend this is a window. Just go with it. We're going to grab the poly rope and some scissors to start with. So here's my window, and I have a lip that sticks out about 4 inches. I am going to put the edge of this basket sitting on that edge just slightly. So I'm taking about 8 inches extra to start with of the rope sticking off, dangling, putting it up against where the window should be. And I'm taking the basket, setting it out about 4 inches away so you can kind of see how long of a piece you need. And then I'm going to go a little bit farther down. We'll say another extra 8 inches or so from the part that hangs down. And that's how you know how much of the rope to cut to start with. You're going to cut 2 pieces that same length. Or pretty close. Next, I'm going to put the basket back at the window. Remember, you're doing this on your window, not a fake piece like me. I'm going to go down that extra 8 inches again, or thereabouts, and put it up against the window and put my basket on the lip of the windowsill. And then mark the spot where it hits the basket right here, and then go about another 8 inches again. Cut and make a second piece just as long. So basically what we're going for is we're going to have an anchor point, 2 of them at the window that come down to the outer edge of the basket. Then from the bottom of the windowsill, we're going to have an anchor point that goes to the basket in 2 spots also. So it's going to hold it in place. So before I get to my window, what I'm going to do is just take my piece of rope on each end of the 4 pieces and tie a knot. I did 1 knot. Now I'm going to do 2 more. So there's going to be 3 total knots, just to give it a little bit of some bulk to it. And that way nothing can really slip out of place. So that's what we have. You're going to do this on one end of each of the 4 pieces. For the 2 longer pieces, I'm going to shut them in the top of the window. I have the windows that if you grab each side of them, they kind of fall forward. That way you can open and clean them. I'm going to pull it forward, slide these knots behind it, and then shut the window and then slide them till the knots hit the window. It kind of like anchors itself. I'll show you for real in a minute, but just so you get the idea. Then I'm going to take the basket and going over 2 holes, I'm going to run the cord through until I find the right spot it needs to sit at. And just as an extra little pointer, you don't want to make it level to start with. You want to make it a little extra leaned up, just slightly. That way when you have the tension of the cat in it, it levels out. That way it doesn't sag with your cat in it and they can roll out. Then again, with it tilted slightly up, with a little bit of some tension, you're going to do 3 knots again. Of course, making it tight. I can't make it tight because it'll pull everything down. Then do the same with the other piece. Going 2 holes over. And 3 knots. It'll look kind of like that. Then your shorter pieces, you're actually going to lift up your window just slightly and shut this knot in the window. And once you do that, you can go 2 holes over again and tie and anchor it, keeping it tight. I think at this point the best thing is for me to just take you to my window so you can see what I did. Let's go. So this is how it hangs. Let me show you the top of it. I use the little clicky thingies on each end to open the window and then click it back into place once the knot was on the other side of the window. And of course, it's anchored very well. And here's my triple knot on each side. You can see on this side, I just kind of tucked it in underneath the blanket. I didn't worry too much about trying to make it look all too pretty. Problem is, if you cut it too short, it can be kind of frizzy and frazzled looking, or the knot can undo. So that's why I left it tucked in. And you can see the cat's been hanging out in here. I put a blanket. And on the bottom down here, I lifted the windowsill and just shut the knot just on the other side of the window, and then pulled everything tight, shut the window and locked it. And that's how we got our hanger. And again, you can also see the edge of this is sitting on the windowsill, just like that, without the blanket. And again, do you see it's just slightly angled up? That way when the 17-pound baby sits in it, it levels out. Hi, Ellie. You might be thinking to yourself, that looks a little tacky, cheap, something along those lines. You can easily dress this up and make it match your decor. The basket can be easily wrapped in contact paper and folded in and made to look pretty, and they have lots of different colors and styles that are just $1 a piece at the Dollar Tree that can match any decor you want. You can coat the inside, the outside, whatever you want to make it fit your decor. And you can throw a pillow or a blanket in here to make it extra comfy for your kitty. All right, so you can see I dressed it up. I just did a quick cover-up job, but by all means, feel free to be a little bit more attention to detail on it. But there we go. There you have it. You can see that it works. My 17-pound kitty and both kittens at the same time can take turns hanging out in it. It's so cheap and easy to make. I think I'm actually going to do 4 of them in a row that should fit and just line the windowsill with the cat boxes. And if you like this idea for your cat to be able to sun in the window, but you don't like the idea of not being able to close your blinds as easily, check out the cardboard window box that I made in the past. It's linked in the description below. So thanks for joining me on this little build, and go make your cat some toys.